Hello everyone. I hope everyone is doing good. Today we're going to talk about yucca or cassava. We're going to be making cassava today. Cassava can be consumed in different ways. For me, I'll have it for either breakfast or for lunch or even for dinner. So depends on how you make it and what the intent is. So a little bit about cassava. Like I said, it's also known as yucca, and it's consumed in different parts of the world. So it's a popular root, I would say. So it's a starch, and it's also a root vegetable that's popular across the world, and it's consumed by many cultures. Many people have different names. I know in Africa it's called cassava, in the Hispanic world it's called yucca, and many other. I'm sure it has different names for different areas. So just a little bit about the health benefits of cassava. This is from webmd.com. So it's said to have some antibacterial and antifungal effects. People will use it for osteoarthritis, for high blood pressure, for joint pain, headache, diabetes, among other conditions. So you can see all the health benefits that come with it. So like I said in the beginning, there are different ways of cooking cassava. You can either boil or you fry it. And today in this video, I'm going to demonstrate both methods, boiling and frying as well. So the first thing you do is you wash your cassava, and then you cut it into chunks. When I'm boiling them, I like to cut them into bigger chunks so they don't overcook. So first of all, you peel the skin, like you can see in the video. Once you start peeling, it comes right off. It's easy to take out. You just need, there's no much technique that's needed. It's easy to do. So just like you can see here. So you peel that, and then you open, and I always make sure there's like a little fiber. I don't know if it's called a fiber or whatever it's called in the middle of the cassava, and I make sure I remove it because it can be tough to cook, it can be tough to chew, and I don't like to have that in my food. So I'll make sure I cut the cassava open, and then I remove that inside stringy thing. I'm calling it I don't know what the right name is for it, but yeah, it's good to take it out. So I'm going to continue with that process until all the cassava is peeled and ready to cook. And actually something else that cassava is used for, I've seen some people sun-dried or dried out, and then they make a powder. And I believe that powder or flour, actually not even powder, it's flour, cassava flour, you can use that for making different foods. Then you can use it to bake, and I know it's also used in some animal feeds. So cassava has a variety of uses. It also does really well in dry regions. So it's hardy, it's going to resist hot climate. So it's very suitable for those areas. So yeah, I'm going to continue cutting it and showing you guys how to prep it. somehow that one was too tough to cut. So towards the ends of the cassava, for some reason they are really tough, so I don't like to cook them. I'll cut the both ends, toss them, and then I use the middle part. And that's what you see me doing in the video. Maybe that's just me, but I stay away from the ends. So what you do is you make a small cut, just not deep, just deep enough to penetrate the skin of the cassava, and then you just peel it. It comes right off. Like you can see, when I'm cutting the cassava, I'm using a cutting board because I'm always scared of cutting myself. So I'll use a cutting board, and then I'll just cut it from that angle. The skin for this particular one was quite tough. I don't know what part of the world it's coming from, but I got it from a Mexican store in around the area. So okay, so I'm done cutting and peeling them. So the next step will be just to make sure that they're clean. Well, wash them again. So you wash them twice. You wash before you peel, and then you wash after you peel. And then I'll just put them in water. Then I'll boil them. Some people like to put salt before they boil, just for taste. But I just prefer boiling them plain, and then I'll add whatever I want to add afterwards. So as that boils, I'm going to cut some vegetables because, like I said, I'm making it two ways. So I'm going to boil some of the cassava, and then I'm going to fry some of it. So for the frying, I'm going to use a tomato. I'm going to use cilantro. I'm going to use onions, and then just a few spices here and there. So for the spices, I'll use black pepper and a Goya cube. the beef cube. It tastes really good with this, so just for added taste. So I chopped just one tomato is enough, because like you saw, it's not a big serving. So again, the number of tomatoes you use will depend on how much of the cassava you're making. The next, I'll cut the cilantro. I just love the taste that comes with cilantro, so I will chop that into small pieces, and I use that towards the end. So I don't cook the cilantro. I just sprinkle on top of the cooked and ready to eat cassava, and just serve it as needed. So continue chopping that into nice manageable pieces, and like you can see, I cut the stem and the leaves. I don't remove the stems. I cut them all together, and they're nice and crunchy, so I like them like that. Okay, continue prepping, and then we'll now go to the onions. The onion, I just need one for this case, and even one is a lot, because again, like I said, it's not a big serving. So like everything else, I'll wash my onion, I'll peel, remove the top layer, make sure it's clean, and then I'll chop it, cut it in half, and then I'll use 1/2 for this session. These onions are good actually, because they don't make me cry. Some of them will get into your eyes, and yeah, the waterworks starts, but these ones are good. I've never known why some of them make you cry and others are just fine, but these particular ones they're pretty mild to the eye. Yeah, so when I'm cutting the onions, I'll cut thin sections, almost stringy like. I feel like they cook easier, and they absorb the oil and the spices better. Okay. Like I said, I'm not gonna use the whole onion. So what I do is I have a container that I use to store any cut onions, because I don't want the smell of onions all over my fridge. So I'll put it in there, and that container really takes care of everything. So the cassava is done. That it took 15 minutes to boil, and now I'm going to cut it into small pieces. The reason I'm using a fork is because they're still hot. Otherwise, if you let them cool off, you don't need to use a fork. You just need to wash your hands and then just cut them into small little pieces. But for this session, I'm going to use a fork, because you can see they are still smoking, so they're still hot, and I don't want to burn my fingers. So I'm going to use a fork and try to cut them into small pieces. get them ready for frying. And you can see the sizes I'm cutting. I mean, you don't have to cut them to this size, but then again, these are the sizes that are proven to be nice and tasty, and I just prefer that size. So now I'm going to put the onions that I cut in a pan, and then I'll add some. I always cook with olive oil. That's my preferred oil, but you don't have to use olive oil. Just use the oil that you use in your household. And then I'll put just again, I don't like very greasy food, so I'll put a manageable size. And the good thing with olive oil, it's not greasy, so it's really light oil, and it's definitely my best and my preferred. So now the next step will be frying the onions. I'm going to brown them. I like them like really, really browned. I feel like the taste brings out the taste. Okay, yeah, that's how I like them. Now you see they are completely brown. So I'm going to go ahead and add the tomatoes that I chopped. And I'll mix the tomatoes and cook them until they get into a paste. Instead of doing this, the other option can be blending your tomatoes and just using the paste. But instead of using a blender, sometimes I'd rather just cook them like this, and they'll still be pasty. So you can already see there's some sauce forming over there, and I'll continue cooking them and browning them until they get to that pasty kind of state. Then this is the time when you add your salt, you add any spices that you like to add. And for me, the lesser the spices, the better. So I'll do onions and maybe a Goya cube and pepper. That's the most I'll do in my yucca, and it comes out really well. So it looks like we are getting to that pasty consistency. Like you can see, it's brown, it's pasty. You can even see the tomatoes. And now I'm going to pump the yucca in there. Remember, the yucca is already cooked, so not much cooking is needed. It's just a matter of mixing them with the sauce, and once you mix them, adding your cilantro, and it's ready to serve. So you see over here, it's well mixed. The aroma, it's out of this world at this point. It smells really good. It's all mixed, and at this time too, the heat is on low. Actually, it's at 0. And then I'll go ahead and add my cilantro, which is the last step in the cooking session. Nice garnishing to make, to bring out the taste. So I'll mix the cilantro, and you can see the final product. It's now ready to serve. And here's the final product. So on your left, you have the yucca, the boiled yucca. That one I'll have it with some blueberries and some pineapple or any other fruit of your choice. It's really good for breakfast. And then on the right, I have the fried yucca that I just made. So if some family members like boiled, then they can have the boiled. If other members like the fried, you can fry it. And so, like you can see, there are many ways of cooking it, and everybody in the family is happy because they get to eat what they enjoy. So very healthy breakfast and very healthy lunch, like you can see. So the cheese was all yours. So that's what we had for breakfast this morning. You can have that with coffee, you can have it with tea, you can have it with juice, whatever you want to have it with. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next. Bye bye.